Hello everyone, this is Punk 93 Metal, and I'm here to tell you about one of my favorite punk genres called Powerviolence. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, but what is Powerviolence? How does it differentiate from all the other punk genres? Well, Powerviolence is a type of hardcore punk, but it's usually more extreme than your standard hardcore. For example, you may listen to like a Minor Threat song, and the beat will be like pretty fast, but not really fast enough to be considered power violence, because power violence is super fast. I'll give you an example. Minor Threat's filler, like the speed would be like, whereas in his name from Infest would be like, like blast beat sort of. So who coined the term power violence? Well, power violence was believed to be coined from Infest guitarist and Neanderthal guitarist Matt Domino in 1989. He was having a debate with future Man is the Bastard member Eric Wood. And they were trying to describe what style is Neanderthal. And Matt Domino was heard to have said fucking power violence. So anyway, the years pass on, and it's 1991. And Man and the Bastard was playing their first gig in Pedro Rivera, along with No Comment, Capitalist Casualties, and Crossed Out. And during the gig, there was like this short little Hispanic guy that was kind of like in the crowd, because the crowd was very drunk and violent, man. They were like moshing all over the place. And this just short little Hispanic guy, kind of doing like a little jive, kind of like getting this groove onto the music. And and people were kind of avoiding him because of that. Like, what the hell is this guy doing? This is intense music. Anyway, Man is the Bastard played their sets, and I believe as Capitalist Casualties was setting up their set, the short little Hispanic guy grabbed onto the mic and said, like in broken English, "This music is good. We are not different." And that really made an impact on those bands. Like, wow, now here we are, playing this extreme thrashing music, and they have to have like this common ground. Because back then, power violence was very unpopular. Punk bands, punk clubs were catering to bands like Green Day, Screeching Weasel, Jawbreaker, like the poppier bands in that scene. So extreme thrashing music was uncool at the time. So anyway, Man is the Bastard did this split with a noise grind band called Aunt Mary. And in that split, they had a song called Hispanic Small Manpower, dedicated to that little Hispanic guy at that gig. And the vocalist, Aaron Keynes, I believe his name is. I can't really think of his last name. Anyway, he wrote that song, and in the beginning of the song, he yells "Crossed Out," "No Comment," "Man Pig," "Capitalist Casualties," "Man is the Bastard," those bands that played in that Pedro Rivera gig. And right before he goes into the song, he yells West Coast Power Violence, which was the first time anyone outside of that little group has heard the term. And it kind of described like this, it wasn't really like a genre to describe that genre at the time. It was more like, kind of like the mindset. Because really those bands didn't really kind of quite sound the same. I mean, you could say that Capitalist Casualties and No Comment sound the same, but Crossed Out sounded different, Man is the Bastard sounded different. But they used the term power violence to describe like that mindset. Like, okay, this is us, this is our style of music we're playing, and if one of us is playing, then we can guarantee that those other bands that fall under that category will be there as well. Now, what are power violence bands? What were the pioneering bands? Specifically, a lot of power violence bands cite Infest as a major influence. If they weren't the first power violence band, then they were the first band to push hardcore towards that direction. Then No Comment came out in '87, followed by Capitalist Casualties. Then 1990, Crossed Out came about, Then in '91, finally Man is the Bastard. And Manpicked didn't even record in the '90s. Actually, I don't think they weren't really that dedicated until recently. But so a lot of those bands they toured, and they released records thanks to Spaz bass player Chris Dodge, who had a record label called Slap a Ham, which basically put Powerviolence on the map. Like, they went for Chris Dodge, they want to be Powerviolence but not get any exposure at all. So thank you, Chris Dodge. Anyway, and inspired bands like Charles Bronson and of course Spaz and Despise You, that all came about in the '90s. Now, a lot of people say that Powerviolence died when Spaz broke up. They played the last show on 2000, I believe it was December. It was back in December of 2000. It was close to 2001. And Spaz played the last show on 924 Gilman Street in California. Now, while I think that Powerviolence kind of went like underground, like there wasn't like a major scene. I feel that there has been a resurgence in Powerviolence. When you see Powerviolence bands like Iron Lung coming out, the Hatred Surge, Mindless Mutant, Mind Eraser, Water Torture. Now they're all coming about, and they're kind of revitalizing the scene. Because they grew up listening to bands like Crossed Out and Man's the Bastard and No Comment. So it's kind of like revitalizing this scene. And plus, Infest is doing some union shows. So I feel that the second wave of Powerviolence is underway. So that's a brief overview. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're interested about Powerviolence, check out my vid, Powerviolence Music. It'll give you like a brief overview of some bands. And peace out.